Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayana Namaskritya Narunche Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiri Nashtaprayeshu Adreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 12, the expansions of Advaita Acharya and Gadadhar Pandit. Text 18 onwards. Krishna Mishra Nama Acharya Tanaya Chaitanya Gosai Basi Yahara Hriday. I think ye kar liya tha. Yeah, text 19. Shri Gopal Namayar Acharya Rasuta Tahara Charitra Shuna Atyanta Adbhuta. Shri Gopal was another son of Shri Advaita Acharya Prabhu. Now just hear about his characteristics, for they're all very wonderful. As mentioned above, Shri Gopal was one of the three devoted sons of Advaita Acharya. He is further described in the Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Gundicha Mandire Mahaprabhur Sammukhe Kirtane Nartana Kare Bada Prema Sukhe. When Lord Chaitanya personally cleansed the Gundicha Mandir in Jagannath Puri, Gopal danced in front of the Lord with great love and happiness. The Gundicha Mandir is situated in Jagannath Puri, and every year Jagannath, Balbhadra and Subhadra come there from Jagannath temple to stay for 8 days. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived at Jagannath Puri, every year he personally cleansed this temple with his principal devotees. The Gundicha Marjan chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita describes this vividly. Nana Bhavodgama Dehe Adbhuta Nartan Dui Gosai Hari Vale Ananditaman. While Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Advaita Acharya chanted the Hare Krishna mantra and danced, there were various ecstatic symptoms in their bodies, and their minds were very pleased. Nachite nachite Gopal Haila Murachita Bhumete Padila Dehe Nahika Sameta. While all of them danced, Gopal dancing and dancing fainted and fell to the ground unconscious. Dukhita Haila Acharya Putra Kolalaya Raksha Kare Narsimera Mantra Padiya. Advaita Acharya Prabhu became very unhappy. Taking his son on his lap, he began to chant the Narsimha mantra for his protection. Nana mantra pade Acharya Nahaye Chetan Acharya Dukhe Vaishnav Karena Kratan. Advaita Acharya chanted various mantras, but Gopal did not come to consciousness. Thus all the Vaishnavas present cried in sorrow at his plight. Tabe Mahaprabhu Tara Hirde Hastathari Uthaha Gopal Kaila Bola Hari Hari. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then put his hand on the chest of Gopal and told him, "My dear Gopal, get up and chant the holy name of the Lord." Uthila Gopala Prabhu Sparsha Dhvani Shuni Anandita Haya Sabe Kare Hari Dhvani. When he heard this sound and felt the touch of the Lord, Gopal immediately got up, and all the Vaishnavas chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in jubilation. Acharyara Araputra Shri Balaram Araputra Sarup Shakha Jagadishanam. The other sons of Advaita Acharya were Shri Balaram, Swarupa and Jagadish. The Sanskrit book Advaita Charita states that Balram, Swarup and Jagdish were the 4th, 5th and 6th sons of Advaita Acharya. Therefore, Shri Advaita Acharya had 6 sons, Balram, Swarup and Jagadish, being Smartas or Mayavadis, were rejected by Vaishnava society. Sometimes Mayavadis posed themselves as Vaishnavas, so worshippers of Lord Vishnu. But actually, they do not believe in Lord Vishnu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for they consider demigods like Lord Shiva, Durga, the sun god, and Ganesh equal to him. They are generally known as Panchopashak Smartas, and one should not count them among Vaishnavas. So they do this worship of Pancha Upasak, Shiva, Durga, sun god, Ganesh, and Lord Vishnu. And people think they are Vaishnavas. They're not. Balram had 3 wives and 9 sons. The youngest son of his first wife was known as Madhusudan Goswami. He took the title Bhattacharya and accepted the path of the Smartha or Mayavad philosophy. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur notes that the son of Goswami Bhattacharya, Shri Radharaman Goswami Bhattacharya, refused the title Goswami because it is generally meant for sannyasis, those who have taken the renounced order of life. One who is still in the family life should not misuse the title Goswami. So Swami or Goswami title is reserved for sannyasis, according to Vaishnava principles. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur did not recognize the caste Goswamis because they were not in the line of the 6 Goswamis in the renounced order who were direct disciples of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Namely, Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Srila Bhatta Raghunath Goswami, Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Srila Jeev Goswami, and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that the Grihastha ashram, or the status of family life, is a sort of concession for sense gratification. Therefore, a Grihastha should not falsely adopt the title Goswami. The ISKCON movement has never conferred the title Goswami upon a householder. Although all the sannyasis we have initiated in ISKCON are young, we have awarded them the title of the renounced order of life, Swami and Goswami, because they have completely dedicated their lives to preach the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur mentions that not only do the householder caste Goswamis disrespect the title Goswami, but also following the principles of the Smartha Raghunandan, they exhibit great foolishness by burning a straw image of Advaita Acharya in a Shraddha ceremony, thus acting like Rakshasas and disrespecting the Hari Bhakti Vilas, which is a guide for Vaishnavas. So Hari Bhakti Vilas, written by Sanatan Goswami, but he did not give his name, so it got the name of Gopal Bhatt Goswami. It is a guidebook for Vaishnavas. It's very, very elaborate and lots of information is there for everything, for how to do deity worship, how to chant, how to do everything actually. It's a rule book for the Vaishnavas. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that sometimes these Smartha caste Goswamis write books on Vaishnava philosophy or commentaries on the original scriptures, but that a pure devotee should cautiously avoid reading them. Don't even want to read them, because we can get confused, because we don't have that kind of faith or the knowledge of the scriptures. So we can get confused reading those commentaries. Kamla Kanta Vishwas, Nam Acharya Kinkar, Acharya Vyavahara Savatahara Gochara. Advaita Acharya's very confidential servant named Kamala Kanta Vishwas knew all the dealings of Advaita Acharya. So another wonderful incident that happened with Kamala Kant in Jagannath Puri. The name Kamala Nanda mentioned in Adi Lila and the name Kamala Kant mentioned in Madhya Lila both refer to the same man, Kamala Kant, a very confidential servant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, born in a Brahmin family, engaged in the service of Sri Advaita Acharya as a secretary. When Parmanand Puri went from Navadvip to Jagannath Puri, he took Kamalakant Vishwas with him, and they both went to see Lord Chaitanya at Jagannath Puri. It is mentioned in Madhya Lila that one of the devotees of Lord Gauranga, the Brahman Kamalakant, went with Parmanand Puri to Jagannath Puri. Neela chalite ho ek patrika likhiya, Pratap Rudrera Pasha, Dila Bathaiya. When Kamalakant Vishwas was in Jagannath Puri, he sent a note through someone to Maharaj Pratap Rudra, Sahi patri ra katha acharya nahi jane, kona paake sahi patri aila Prabhu sthane. No one knew of that note, but somehow or other it reached the hands of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what was in that note? Se patrite lekha ache eita lekhan. Ishwaratve acharya kariyache sthapan. The note established Advaita Acharya as an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kintu tar daive kichu hai ache rena. Rena shodhi bare chahi tanka shatatina. But it also mentioned that Advaita Acharya had recently incurred a debt of about 300 rupees that Kamalakant Vishwas wanted to liquidate. Patra padiya Prabhu mane haila dukha, bahire hasiya kichu bale chandra mukha. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became unhappy upon reading them, although his face still shone as brightly as the smiling, he spoke as follows. Acharya sthapiyache kariya ishvara, ithe dosha nahi acharya devata ishvara. He has established Advaita Acharya as an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is nothing wrong with this, for he is indeed the Lord himself. Ishwarera danya kari, kari ache bhiksha, atev danda kari, kari vaishiksha, karai vaishiksha. But he has made the incarnation of God a poverty-stricken beggar, therefore I shall punish him in order to correct him. So Mahaprabhu was so strict in establishing the principle. Advaita Acharya is Mahavishnu himself. So even if out of his pastime he is showing that he is indebted for 300 rupees, for Mahavishnu, what's the big deal? He might be doing his pastime. But if Kamalakant Vishwas says that Advaita Acharya has become a rini, indebted, that's not correct. That he's like a poverty-stricken beggar. We might think, oh, it's not a big deal. What's the big deal? But Mahaprabhu wants to establish the principle. To describe a man as an incarnation of God or Narayana and at the same time present him as poverty-stricken is contradictory, and it's the greatest offense. The Mayavadi philosophers engaged in the missionary work of spoiling the Vedic culture by preaching that everyone is God, describe a poverty-stricken man as Daridra Narayan or poor Narayan. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never accepted such foolish and unauthorized ideas. He strictly warned, Mayavadi Bhashya Shunile Hoy Sarvanash. Anyone who follows the principles of Mayavad philosophy is certainly doomed. Such a fool needs to be reformed by punishment. Although it is contradictory to say that the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his incarnation is poverty-stricken, we find in the revealed scriptures when the Lord incarnated as Vaman, he begged some land from Maharaj Bali. Everyone knows, however, that Vamandev was not at all poverty-stricken. His begging from Maharaj Bali was a device to favor him. When Maharaj Bali actually gave the land, Vamandev exhibited his all-powerful position by covering the three worlds with 3 steps. One should not accept the so-called Daridra Narayans as incarnations because they're completely unable to show the opulence of the genuine incarnations of God. So that is why many times in TV serials, they show the Lord in a wrong way, very, very wrong way, which is not based on the scriptures. It's just how they think, how the director thinks, or the producer thinks, and they just portray him, which is completely wrong. That is why when we study Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukdev Goswami took 9 cantos to establish the position of Krishna. And then he started speaking about Krishna and his pastimes. not before that. And here also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the first so many chapters, I know devotees were getting bored. There's so much of philosophy. But Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami had to establish the position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who is he? Not an ordinary man, not just a sentimental man chanting and dancing on the streets. He's a supreme personality of Godhead himself. He's not an avatar. He is Krishna himself. And why he came, the way he came, why he performed his pastimes, how he established the Yug Dharma, and much more he gave through that Yug Dharma of chanting of the holy names. Much more he has given. So he had to establish all this. So even for Advaita Acharya, he is the Supreme Lord, Mahavishnu himself. So it wasn't proper for Kamalakant Vishwas to call him that he has become poverty-stricken. Govindera Agya Dila Iha Aji Haite Bali Avishwashe Etha Nadibe Ashite. The Lord ordered Govinda. So Govinda was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's god brother, but he was serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. From today on, do not allow this Bauliya, Kamalakant Vishwas, to come here. The Bauliyas or Baulas are one of the 13 unauthorized sects. Those are up-sampradayas that pass as followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord ordered Govinda, his personal assistant, not to allow Kamalakant Vishwas to come into his presence because he had become a Bauliya. Thus, although the Baula Sampradaya, Avala Sampradaya and Sahajya Sampradaya, as well as the Smartas, Jatagosais, Ativadis, Chodadharis, and Gaurang Nagaris claim to belong to the disciplic succession of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord actually rejected them because they have added their own some things here and there in the philosophy. Bauliya also means mad, pagal. Danda Shuni Vishwa Saila Param Dukhita Shuniya Prabhur Danda Acharya Harshita. When Kamalakant Vishwas heard about this punishment by Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was very unhappy. But when Advaita Prabhu heard about it, he was greatly pleased. Now Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu, they both are Supreme Lord. One is Balramji, one is Mahavishnu. But they both always wanted to be counted as servants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we'll see what Advaita Acharya, how he dealt with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and what was his inner mood. Always wanted to serve. And similarly, Nityananda Prabhu. And completely mad in love for Mahaprabhu and always wanted to serve Mahaprabhu. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Samo aham sarva bhuteshu name dveshu asti na priya. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. The Supreme Personality of Godhead being equal to everyone. No one can be his enemy, nor can anyone be his friend. Since everyone is a part or son of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord cannot be partial and regard someone as a friend and someone as an enemy. Thus, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu punished Kamalakant Vishwas by no longer allowing him to come into his presence, although the punishment was actually very hard on him, Shri Advaita Prabhu, understanding the inner meaning of such punishment, was happy because he appreciated that Lord has actually favored Kamalakant Vishwas. You might think, how did the Lord favored Kamalakant Vishwas? By not allowing him. Advaita Acharya says, because when somebody chastises somebody, like Mahaprabhu chastising Kamalakant Vishwas, punishing him means he is accepting him as his servant. Otherwise, how would he punish him? See the inner meaning which Advaita Acharya is deducing from this. Therefore, he was not at all unhappy. Devotees should always be happy with the dealings of their master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A devotee may be put into difficulty or opulence, but he should accept both as gifts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and jubilantly engage in the service of the Lord in all circumstances. विश्वासेर कहे तुमी बड़ा भाग्यवान तुम्हारे करेले दंड प्रभु भगवान. Seeing Kamalakant Vishwas unhappy, Advaita Acharya Prabhu told him, "You are greatly fortunate to have been punished by the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." This is an authoritative judgment by Shri Advaita Prabhu. He clearly advises that one should not be unhappy when reverses come upon him by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, how do we know if the reverses have come upon ourselves? Is by the order of the Supreme Lord, or it's by my own karma, the result of my own karma? The thing is, if in the life of a devotee, everything is ordained by the Lord. Everything is orchestrated by the Lord. So we can say that, and which is right way of understanding. Then I'm not a devotee, but the kind of a devotee the Lord is going to worry about. That He is going to pass judgments against me. I'm such a fallen soul. So even whether the Lord has passed a judgment or whether we are just suffering the results of our actions, nevertheless, it gives us a chance for many things. One is to become humble, to become more tolerant, to become more surrendered, to hold on to the lotus feet of the Lord, to hold on to the lotus feet of Harinam. Means chanting Harinam more sincerely, more determination, more feelings. Thinking that, yes, it was my karma and I was supposed to get much more punishment. I just gave very little actually. I just got very little. That should be the mood of a devotee, and carry on with the services more diligently, more surrender. This is the mood of devotees. That's why Chaitanya Charitamrita is such an important scripture. A devotee should always be happy to receive the fortune awarded him by the Supreme Lord, which may seem pleasant or unpleasant according to one's judgment. And actually, whatever happens in the life of a devotee is for his purification, nothing else. Of course, that doesn't give us an authority or permission that we can do something against any devotee. Saying, see, this is for your purification, Prabhu. No, then I'll be acquiring karma, definitely, of doing something wrong against you. So if Krishna wants to do something, let him figure out how to do it. I'm not going to be part of that. Just like many times devotees give this example. In Mahabharata, when the battle was going on. Now, Bhishma Dev is a Mahajan. He is one of the 12 Mahajans listed in Bhagavatam. And Arjun is a pure devotee. He's been taught Bhagavad Gita by Krishna himself. Krishna himself is sitting as his charioteer. Hanumanji is on his chariot. So both are devotees of very, very high caliber. Still Krishna got Bhishma Dev killed by Arjuna. It was all orchestrated by Krishna. Arjuna didn't want to fight. He forget about killing Bhishma Dev. Yes, if that is the situation, we can do whatever Krishna wants. But if that is not the situation, no matter what anybody says, we are not supposed to do anything against any devotee, no matter what. If Krishna, however, somehow wants to punish him or do something for his purification, then that's up to Krishna to do. How he gets done, that's up to him. These tests will always be there, always, in our lives. Very, very dilemma will be there, very tedious situations would be there. So those are the tests. Those are tests to see how we are making progress. Simple. But one thing I'm not going to do is say anything against any devotee. Simple as that. Tricky situations will be there, always. Always. And at that time, it will look like, oh, this is the right thing to do. And it could be that our seniors might be ordering us to do something. So we have to see what to do. Very, very tricky situations will be there. But anyway, no matter what happens in our life, whether so-called pleasant or unpleasant, it's always for our purification, for our advancement. Purve Mahaprabhu more kare na samana, dukha pai mane ami kailu anuman. Formerly, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always respected me as a senior, but I did not like such respect. Therefore, my mind being afflicted by unhappiness, I made a plan. So that was also a wonderful incident. Mukti Shrestha Kare Kainu Vashishta Vyakhyan Kruddha Haya Prabhu More Kailapaman. Thus I expounded the Yoga Vashishta, which considers liberation the ultimate goal of life. For this, the Lord became angry at me and treated me with apparent disrespect. There is a book of the name Yoga Vashisht, that Mayavadis greatly favor because it is full of impersonal misunderstandings regarding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with no touch of Vaishnavism. Factually, all Vaishnavas should avoid such a book, but Advaita Acharya Prabhu, wanting punishment from the Lord, began to support the impersonal statements of the Yoga Vasishta. Thus, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became extremely angry at him and seemingly treated him disrespectfully. Seemingly. Okay, this is a wonderful story I want to speak on. So, as it is said, actually, Advaita Acharya was senior in age, very, very senior to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu, whenever he would see Advaita Acharya, and Advaita Acharya was senior in age, and he was chief of all the Brahmins of Navadvip. So Mahaprabhu would always touch the feet of Advaita Acharya, and Advaita Acharya would not like that. He would say, you are my master, I'm supposed to be touching your feet. But Advaita Acharya being old and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being young, he would always avoid. He would jump out when Advaita Acharya tried, and Advaita Acharya could not touch his feet or get the dust from his lotus feet. And Advaita Acharya did not like Mahaprabhu would always respect him. Advaita Acharya was, I am your servant, just treat me like a servant. But Mahaprabhu, out of etiquette, he would not do that. And moreover, Advaita Acharya was also the disciple of Madhavendra Puri, same as Ishwar Puri. So one day Advaita Acharya got very angry and he left the company of devotees and went back to Shantipur. And in Shantipur, he started preaching from this book, Yoga Vasishtha. So basically it says, Mukti is better than Bhakti. So Mahaprabhu heard that and he was very disturbed that why Advaita is doing this. And because of his calling, I came to establish Bhakti. And now he is speaking against Bhakti. So Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, he took Nityananda Prabhu with him and he said, let's go pay a visit to Advaita Acharya in Shantipur. So on their way, it's little distance away. Actually, when we go from Calcutta to Navadvip or Mayapur, the Shantipur place is on the way. So Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, they started walking. And then while they were walking, they came to an ashram or a house of a sannyasi. And actually that was a tantric sannyasi, not even Vaishnava sannyasi. And he was sitting there and he asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, he saw them, they were young, beautiful Vaishnavas. He said, why don't you come and accept some prasadam? Mahaprabhu thought, yeah, Mahaprabhu hadn't taken sannyas yet because he was still performing the kirtan pastimes in Navadvip. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, yes, this looks like a very nice sannyasi. So while they were having, the sannyasi asked them to come inside the ashram, and then his wife came out with 2 plates of fruits, prasad. So actually a sannyasi is not supposed to have wife, but he was not a Vaishnava sannyasi, some tantric sannyasi. And then he was asking, while Mahaprabhu was having prasad, fruits, he asked, do you want some ananda? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, no, we have this prasad, this is good enough, it is giving us ananda. The sannyasi asked Nityananda Prabhu, do you want some ananda? And Nityananda Prabhu said, no, we are happy with this. We don't want ananda, any other ananda. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is the sannyasi talking about? What ananda? And Nityananda Prabhu, he had been all over India to all the tirthas before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. So Nityananda Prabhu knew what kind of ananda this sannyasi is talking about. Actually, he was talking about wine. That if you want some wine. And Mahaprabhu heard that, he said, Hurry, he just jumped up from where he was eating prasad. What kind of sannyasi is this? He's talking about wine and he has his wife also. What kind? They both ran away from his house and they just jumped in Ganges. And they were laughing, what kind of sannyasi he is. But see one thing, Mahaprabhu would not even talk to Mayavadis. But he ate at this house of this sannyasi who was not following all the rules of sannyasa ashram. Only thing was, he was not a Mayavadi sannyasi. He might be a sinner, but he was not offensive. So Mahaprabhu accepted prasadam at his place and he gave him a symbol, not in this lifetime, maybe next lifetime, to take up devotional service. So they both were laughing and then they swam in the Ganges to purify themselves, and also Advaita Acharya's house was right at the bank of Ganges. And then they came out of the Ganges. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was walking in front and Advaita Acharya was giving lecture at that time on Yoga Vasishtha. And seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming, he started to speak more boldly, with more enthusiasm. This mukti is better than bhakti. And Mahaprabhu came. Mahaprabhu, mukti va bhakti va. Mukti or bhakti. And definitely mukti. Mukti, bhakti is like bhakti is like a mirror, and if you don't see yourself properly in the mirror, how would you know that? So mukti is better. Mukti is million times better than bhakti. And Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could not tolerate that. He said, you called me from Vaikuntha to come here and give this bhakti, Harinam to everybody. Now you're speaking against bhakti. He got Advaita, he pulled Advaita Acharya down from his Vyasasana and he started beating him up, got on in his body and started beating him up. Advaita Acharya's wife, Sita Devi, came out and she was like, Buddha, mar jayega, the old man, he's going to die. Leave him alone. And Nityanand Prabhu was laughing and laughing, seeing this loving relationship between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Advaita Acharya. Haridas Thakur was also there in the cave. He was always chanting and he saw the commotion. He started praying to the Lord, please leave Advaita Acharya. And this whole thing went on. Of course, Advaita Acharya's students all ran away from there. And then Advaita Acharya was started to laugh. Now you have accepted me as your servant. You always respect me. Where's your respect now? You're always trying to hold on to my lotus feet. Where is that? Now you have accepted me as your servant. Now my desire is fulfilled. So even Mahavishnu wants to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Balramji, Nityanand Prabhu is already serving it. And he was laughing. Nityanand Prabhu was laughing and laughing. And after this whole thing was settled, Sita Devi came out, okay, you all have some prashadam now. So they all had wonderful prashadam. But this is the mood of everybody. They want to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu wants to serve everybody also. This is love. And even that the tantric sannyasi, he also got the mercy of. That is the beauty of bhakti. And this is what Prabhupada says, seemingly treated him disrespectfully. He was never disrespectful, but because Advaita Acharya was preaching on Yoga Vasishtha, which is Mayavadi book, so Mahaprabhu didn't like that. In fact, that place in Shantipur, it is still a big place, big house. And whenever we go to Mayapur, we can visit that place. And that Shaligram Shila is still there, which Advaita Acharya was worshipping, with Tulsi leaves and Ganga Jal when he called for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Danda paya haila mor paramananda, ye danda paila bhagyavan Shri Mukunda. When chastised by Lord Chaitanya, I was very happy to receive a punishment similar to that awarded Shri Mukunda. Shri Mukunda, a great friend and associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, used to visit many places where people were against the Vaishnava cult. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to know of this, he punished Mukunda, forbidding him to see him again. Although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was soft like a flower, he was also strict like a thunderbolt, and everyone was afraid to allow Mukunda to come again into the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mukunda, therefore, being very sorry, asked his friends whether he would one day be allowed to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When the devotees brought this inquiry to Lord Chaitanya, the Lord replied, Mukunda will get permission to see me after many millions of years. When they gave this information to Mukunda, he danced with jubilation. And when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that Mukunda was so patiently waiting to meet him after millions of years, he immediately asked him to return. Return means come back here. Is a statement about this punishment of Mukunda in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Khanda. So because Mukunda was happy, jubilant, that okay, after a million years, finally I'll get a chance to meet Mahaprabhu. See, when some faiths or some people say, "Oh, we are going to suffer eternally in hell if you don't do this," that's not correct. The Lord is so merciful. Why would He put anybody eternally in hell? Okay, maybe after a million years in hell, he will still get a chance to come back. This is the mercy of the Lord. There's no such thing as eternally in hell. So Mahaprabhu's Leelas, Mahaprabhu's mercy is so amazing. And on top of it, by mercy of Prabhupada, we are being given a chance to be in these pastimes, to be in these, in this Leela, that we also are getting the mercy of Mahaprabhu. Being he has accepted us in his mission. So this is his mercy. And all we have to do is just serve nicely, chanting and whatever Prabhupada has given. If you do it nicely, Prabhupada is happy and Mahaprabhu definitely will be happy. And he can just give us Krishna Prem, seeing our service. Okay, I guess I'll stop here because there are more pastimes coming in the next verses. So we'll take it up tomorrow. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, you all are safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.